Hey there, FluentCast listeners. Welcome back to another episode of FluentCast, where we dive into English, culture, and everything in between. And today, today is a bit special because we're celebrating Halloween. Are you ready for some spookiness, Amanda?
I'm so ready, Diego. Halloween is such a fun and fascinating holiday. There's so much to learn, from costumes to trick-or-treating, and of course, a little bit of Halloween vocabulary to help you get into the spirit. So, let's make this episode as fun and spooky as possible, shall we?
And for everyone listening, if you're just starting to learn English or you've been studying for a while, this is a perfect time to learn some Halloween vocabulary and find out what all the spooky fuss is about. And stick around because we'll have some key vocabulary section to make sure no one feels left out. Sound good, Amanda?
Sounds perfect. So, let's dive in and start by talking about some key Halloween words to keep an ear out for in this episode. We'll use these words a lot, so if you learn them, you'll be ready to chat about Halloween like a pro.
Alright, let's kick off with our first word, spooky. Now, spooky means something a little scary, mysterious, or creepy. So, you might hear people say things like, that old house looks spooky. It's a great word for Halloween because everything on Halloween is supposed to be a little spooky, right?
Exactly. Next up, we have costume. Now, a costume is what people wear to dress up as someone or something else. Think of it like clothes you put on to pretend you're a ghost, a witch, or even your favorite superhero. So, when you go to a Halloween party, you wear a costume. Got that, everyone?
Another classic word, haunted. This one is interesting. Haunted usually describes a place where people believe there are ghosts, like a haunted house or a haunted castle. Have you ever heard of haunted places, Amanda?
Oh, yeah. I love hearing stories about haunted houses and ghosts. It adds to the Halloween vibe. Okay, next word is tradition. A tradition is something people do over and over, often passed down through generations. Halloween itself is a tradition because people celebrate it every year.
Yep, and one more word for you, superstition. Superstitions are beliefs that people have about things bringing good or bad luck, but they're not based on science. For example, some people think black cats are bad luck, which is a common Halloween superstition.
Those are the key words for today. Spooky, costume, haunted, tradition, and superstition. Let's get into the history of Halloween and explore where all this spookiness comes from.
So, Halloween goes way, way back, all the way to the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain. This was over 2,000 years ago. The Celts celebrated the end of the harvest season, and they believed that on the night of October 31st, the boundary between the living and the dead became thin. Creepy, huh?
Definitely. Imagine this. It's getting colder, the crops are all harvested, and people believed that ghosts might come back to visit. So, to keep away these spooky spirits, they would light big bonfires and wear costumes to protect themselves.
You're definitely right. And then, as time went on, these traditions got mixed in with other customs, like the Christian holiday All Saints' Day on November 1st. People called October 31st All Hallows' Eve, which eventually became Halloween.
So, Halloween evolved into a mix of superstitions, traditions, and celebrations from different cultures, creating the holiday we know today. And instead of scaring away ghosts with bonfires, now we scare each other with costumes and spooky decorations.
So, speaking of costumes, let's dive into some of the big traditions people celebrate these days. Have you, ever heard of trick-or-treating?
Trick-or-treating is such a fun Halloween activity. Basically, kids put on costumes and go door to door saying, "Trick or treat!" If you give them candy, that's the treat. If you don't, well, they might trick you, which means playing a little prank. But don't worry, it's all in good fun.
Exactly. Trick-or-treating is like one of the most famous Halloween traditions, especially in the US and Canada. And, then there's the whole pumpkin carving thing. Have you ever seen a A pumpkin with a face carved into it, that's called a jack-o'-lantern.
Jack-o'-lanterns are a big part of Halloween. People hollow out a pumpkin, carve a spooky or funny face on it, and then put a candle inside. They put these pumpkins outside their homes as decorations.
And let's not forget telling spooky stories. Whether it's ghost stories around a campfire or watching a scary movie, there's a big tradition of telling spooky tales during Halloween. It's all part of making things feel haunted and, well, spooky.
So, Diego, what's your favorite Halloween tradition? Have you ever dressed up in a costume?
Oh, totally. I've always wanted to dress up like, I don't know, a vampire or even like the Joker from the movies. It was just so much fun to pretend to be spooky for a night. What about you, Amanda? Have you ever gone trick-or-treating?
Yes, and I loved it. Even as an adult, it's fun to get into the Halloween spirit. There's just something about dressing up, watching scary movies, and, of course, eating a little too much candy.
And that's the other thing about Halloween, right? People get really into all the candy and treats. I mean, there's usually a ton of it. Everything from chocolate bars to candy corn.
Now, why should English learners care about Halloween? Well, Halloween is a huge cultural event in the US, Canada, and other English-speaking countries. Learning about it helps you understand more about these cultures and gives you a chance to practice fun vocabulary, like the words we mentioned earlier: spooky, costume, haunted, tradition, and superstition.
That's right. And like, if you ever visit an English-speaking country during Halloween, you'll totally be able to join in on the fun. You can chat with people about their costumes, check out haunted houses, and maybe even go trick-or-treating if you're with friends or family. Plus, knowing the vocabulary just makes it all the more enjoyable, you know?
Plus, Halloween words and phrases pop up in movies, TV shows, and even in some books. So, understanding these words makes it easier to enjoy those too.
All right, everyone, so that about wraps up our Halloween episode. We hope you learned a bit about the spooky side of English and had some fun hearing about Halloween traditions. It's such a unique holiday with tons of history and culture to explore. Thanks for tuning in.
And of course, if you celebrate Halloween, we'd love to hear about your own traditions or costumes. So feel free to share with us on social media.
And as always, if you want to improve your English skills even more, don't forget that Fluent English Academy offers one-on-one lessons. We'll help you practice vocabulary, have conversations about culture, and feel more comfortable speaking English in any situation.
Happy Halloween, everyone! Stay safe, have fun, and enjoy all the spooky celebrations.
Yep, and don't forget to subscribe to FluentCast for more episodes about language, culture, and more. We'll see you next time.